What about this Bills team are you most eager to see Sunday night against Baltimore, other than, Josh Allen doing freak show things like he does, which is always pretty fun? Like, what part of the team are you most eager to finally get a regular season set of reps to look for? 803-0550 is our phone number. Let us know what for you it is, the number one thing that you are looking for. My answer for that is it's probably Kincaid. It's Kincaid or Coleman, right? It's the two pieces that are high investments on the offense that are supposed to do what Florio's kind of talking about there, like more help around Allen and, a pass catcher to help him more to become a problem, whether that's growth from Coleman into something that's really exciting, or if it's Kincaid becoming the final vision of what they thought he could be, really. So it's probably those two. I want to see Kincaid, who I think has had a bit of a quiet camp in preseason, and Coleman's had a little bit more hype surrounding him. So to me, it's those two guys. It's Kincaid and Coleman, what they can offer in this offense in year 2 for Coleman and year 3 for Kincaid.
Yeah, I think it's hard not to pick one of those two. Unless you wanted to pick something on the defense like Bosa or, Max Hairston eventually maybe is this answer. But, it's go time for Kincaid especially. Because this is year 3, right? Not that if Coleman had a pedestrian year that there would be, I think, a lot of belief that there's some massive step coming in a third year for him. But if Kincaid doesn't do it this year, it's going to feel like, all right, this is what he is. This is 3 years now of him in this offense and playing with this quarterback. And if it's still not really happening, then it's going to feel like, am I even bringing this guy back for a second contract? Is it a failed pick? And that could even be with him being a player that's somewhat helpful. If he's a 600-yard tight end, that's a piece of the offense, but he's just not really that never really scares off defenses, never really looks all that threatening. That's kind of always been the thing for him with me is the plays never really look that threatening. I think there's a lot of good numbers, though, like Joe Marino's brought up about his, efficiency rate and yak numbers that are pretty good, and Allen missing him a lot last year that might point to there is more in there. But still it never looks, it's not George Kittle with the football.
No, where he's a very different player, yeah.
Very different player. Down the field stuff too, just give me a little of that. Give me some belief that there is an upper echelon tight end in there, because so far I'm not really seeing it. And you're into your third year, it's time to see it now, or you're probably never gonna.
I guess with him, what you would the line you would differentiate. You said Kittle, and when he's drafted, it's Kelsey, right?
Yeah, he's not or prime Gronk running with the football.
Right, he's never going to be Gronk, never going to be Kittle. Kelsey was maybe more of an idea, but when Kincaid gets drafted, the hype about what he could be, matchup nightmare, all that stuff, maybe that's part of the problem in terms of what we are expecting. Like Sal points out all the time, likes to point out, when Kincaid's rookie season happened, he set the franchise record for tight ends catches by a rookie, or maybe it was
I think just tight end. I think he had the most catches by a tight end in Bills history.
Right, which is a kind of a low number, but whatever. He did that, and he deserves credit for that as being part of their offense. But I guess when he got drafted, the thing I always thought, Joe, was this is not to me, unique player in the league. A lot of teams have a tight end like this. They have someone that they feel this is important to have. So there was a little bit of maybe an oversell on what he could do, but that doesn't mean he can't be really valuable and can't be a big part of what they do going forward. So he doesn't have to be Kelsey for it to be a success. He doesn't ever have to be Kittle or Gronk, who, of course, he's a very different player then, just to be a reliably good piece of their offense. And, I guess that's a passing grade. At the end of this year, Kincaid, it'll be the fifth-year option in what to do on that. And do you need to see the Kincaid game? Do you need to see takeovers? Do you need to see, hey, they beat Baltimore week 1 because he had 9 for 114 and 2 touchdowns? Do you need games like that out of this player? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I know it's the everybody eats offense, and you could sit here and say we're too focused on who makes the catches. But the point of that point is really you have something the other team can't stop, so you feed it, right? So you go to that in that game. And that's something Joe Brady, of course, would sign off on. Like, whoever's open is going to get the ball. Can he be the guy that does it consistently in a game where that's what you exploit? And we haven't really seen huge games from him yet.
No, he didn't. He didn't lead the Bills in receiving yards in a single game last year. How many tight ends would have done that for their team over the course of the year? Like there were just no big games, and even the year prior, just no. Yeah, right, takeover games. Not every week. That's what Kelsey does in his prime. But how about once a month? Once a month, look like, man, the defense just can't handle you today. Or this team's really bad against tight ends, and it's a nightmare matchup, and you just know Kincaid's going to exploit it all day.
Do you know what his season high in yards was last year?
It can't be higher than like. Did he get to 70?
He got to 53.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I think I'm looking at it.
I mean, injuries,
50.
I know, but like
Sure.
53. He did play most of the games.
Yeah, 53. His season high last year was 53 yards. He got 52, 51. So, like, that's where he kind of topped out. And the year before, his rookie season, which was a good season. And this is only statistically. I know there is more value than just what you put on the stat sheet, but the point is, I think part of the evaluation of Kincaid is when you draft a first-round tight end and the names that start getting thrown out there are like, your Kelce's, and when you're talking about the receiver core, you have to include Kincaid. His best game ever is he's got two here. I've got over 80 yards.
Okay, in his rookie year.
His rookie season he's over 80 yards 3 times. 81 against Cincinnati, 87 against New England, 84 against Miami. That's the high mark. If he had a 100-yard game, it'd be the first of his career. So I'm not totally tied up in the stats. The stats, they represent that the other team didn't have an answer for him.
The other team did have an answer for him, you're saying?
I'm saying, no, right. If you got to 100 yards, if you had a 120.
If you got to 100, yeah.
If you had a big statistical game, it would represent that,
right.
Hey, you've got something here, and they just don't know what to do about it.
Yeah. Last year, Dalton Kincaid, you said his career high in receiving yard, his season high was 53 yards. Tight ends in the league that had a game with more receiving yards in a game than that, 43.
All right.
There were 43 tight ends that had more yards in a game than Kincaid did last year.